And I would like also to check in if you can see and hear me clearly. So before it was all right. So if please let me know with your thumbs up. Great, thank you so much. And if it's not the
Yeah,
case, please let me know too. Wonderful.
of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
let me know if you have problems to hear me. I had some connection issues earlier, so if something happens, just let me know. Okay?
Yeah, that's great housework here. Thank you so much, Anna. All right.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, once again. For those of you who don't know me, I think maybe it's our presenter, wonderful presenter. My name is Alexandra Yaziva, and I'm a lecturer in the Translation Interpreting Studies program, or TIS. And I welcome everyone to this exciting webinar organized by TIS at University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. I'm also happy to see our program director here, Dr. Ryan Schuster, and my wonderful colleague and academic advisor, Dr. Melody Kahn. And everyone is so welcome today, and thank you all very much for joining us today, this morning. An amazing bonus to have two speakers this morning. It is a great honor and pleasure for me to welcome Ana Barros and Krasimira Kaup to the TIS community and beyond. Ana and Krasimira, who is going to join us a bit later, represent RWS Group, a content solutions company that operates globally with the headquarters in the UK. The company is specialized in language, content, and intellectual property services, including translation and localization, and provides contemporary translation tools. Our guest speakers are the best people to learn from about where we are at in the language service job market and which new opportunities we can expect in this tricky age of AI. Our first guest, Ana Barros, is a leading expert in talent and community management and the senior talent finder for RWS Group. A vast experience in the fields of psychology, AI, data analysis, and automated processes, along with the recruitment techniques, makes the information she is going to share with us an invaluable contribution to both speakers' presentation entitled TrainAI Job Opportunities. I suggest that our esteemed audience asks their questions on the chat, which is open for everyone during the talk, and then during the other talk, I hope. And after the talks, we'll go through them for sure. And you all will also have a chance to unmute your mic to ask live if you would like to at some point. Without further ado, I'm passing my Zoom mic to our first wonderful guest speaker, Ana Barros. Please.
Okay, so I will share my screen first so I can share the presentation with you. So let me know when you're able to see. One sec. Share. Okay. So let me share this screen. I have multiple screens, so it's I don't use Zoom, so I'm kind of trying to get used to it.
No worries, for
One.
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
It also demonstrates how technologies come to our life, which is quite in line, I think, with our today's topic, how we are dependent. Great.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank
Can
you,
you
Anna.
do you see the presentation?
Can
Are you able to
everyone
see
see it,
it?
guys? Please let us know in the chat or give it the thumb up. Wonderful. Thank you. Please. Welcome.
Okay, awesome. So first of all, I would like to thank you, everyone that is able to participate in this call today. I really appreciate your time and availability. I think it's a topic that we are all very interested in hearing more and learning more about. And before we get into topics, I would like to give you a bit of understanding of uh, who is RWS and what is our story basically. So I just wanted to let you know that RWS was founded almost 70 years ago, and then originally we operated as primarily as translation companies, and over the decades we expanded significantly, and today we are recognized as one of the top three companies globally in this industry. We are generating millions. We have decades of experience working with language, data, and technology overall. This is the foundation that led to the creation of the TrainAI, and TrainAI currently is the fast-growing business unit in this company. So that's also why we're here to talk about it. And why TrainAI exists, right? The department is fairly new to RWS, but at the same time is growing a lot. And the reason for that is because we can see a clearly content explosion, right? So the world is experiencing this change. Every company, large or small, is now creating, collecting, and managing massive volumes of data. So because of all of this data that is being created constantly, we must organize, analyze, and use to train algorithms that is going to provide different type of services. So, of course, everyone here probably had some level of fear. Oh my God, like, oh, AI will steal my job. And I'm sure some of you experienced the same feeling, the same thoughts, and me included at some point. But I also want to tell you that the reality is actually more balanced. At the same time, AI is also creating some different type of jobs that we are just talking about it now. So yes, AI can automate some certain tasks that it takes some jobs, let's suppose, away, but it also creates new type of jobs that it didn't exist before. And not all of these jobs require technical background, and many simply require some strong language skills, attention to details, ability to follow guidelines. There are many TrainAI jobs that will not require you specific proved experience. If you speak the language, if you're able to follow instructions, you are able to find those sort of jobs. So I also would like to show you some new type of jobs that AI is creating. Of course, there is some jobs here that you're going to notice. There's some more high-level understanding or expertise on the data field. Okay, I went too far. And some of these roles, like I mentioned, like AI ethic specialist or a natural language processing engineer, it will require advanced specialized knowledge. These often combine engineering with linguistics or domain expertise. But on the other side, there are roles that do not require extensive prior experience, and many of these are the type of jobs that we actually hiring for the TrainAI team. So those are data annotation, data validation, content raters, linguist evaluators, AI data specialists, and I'll go deeper in some of those and what it entails, so you can get an understanding basically what people in those roles are working on, what their responsibility and why they're so important. These roles are accessible to people who may be multilingual, they are detail oriented.
Yeah, unfortunately, there are some tech issues.
Can you hear me?
Excuse me, Anna, there were some
Are you able to hear me?
cutting offs. Yeah, so could you please repeat maybe the previous phrase if it's possible? There were some, yeah, so maybe.
Okay, so let me go back. Okay.
Yeah.
Apology for that. So I was mentioning how we have some different roles, data annotators, data validators, content raters, linguistics evaluators as well. And those type of roles don't require you extensive experience. You just need to either speak the language, be detail oriented. This is good for people that are strong readers, that they are good communicators as well. So there's different type of soft skills that can be really good for this type of role. And we are going to talk about in more details what each one of those roles means and what people working on those roles would be doing. Okay. Before we get to that, you are using AI on a daily basis, and I would like to just to explain a little bit that we are dealing with AI even if we don't want to. Okay, so before explaining how we on the TrainAI work, I would like to remind you that we are interacting with AI every day on a single day. So, for example, Netflix learns that you like some sort of content based off what you watch. If you click or if you rate, it's learning from your own generated content. Then Spotify, they build the entire system on machine learning, analyzing listening patterns, recommending new artists that help you explore the music. And that data is constantly being analyzed and updated based on your new patterns. And of course, we also have digital assistants, chatbots, and search engines that uses AI to understand what is the questions that you're asking. So it delivers to you the accurate and the relevant results, right? You are asking about a white cat on Google. It needs to generate some sort of relevant results based on those keywords that you're providing. So AI is also impacting on that side. So these systems only work because they were trained on vast amounts of data that humans helped organize and explain. So basically, this is how TrainAI works. This is the high-level workflow. So I would like to give you a bit of understanding by piece, so you understand how big and complex the process could be. So we always start by a client objective, right? So a company wants to test or to solve a problem. They have a common goal. So when a client or a goal, the first point that we start as is the data collection. Some of the projects, they already have data that is being generated constantly, or maybe there are projects that we need to do some sort of data collection. If they don't have data enough, we will need help, like we will help collect either text, audios, images, video. It really depends on the focus of that process. It's not required. It really depends on the nature of the job, of the project, okay? And then we have data annotation that comes after the data collection. So the data annotation is where human comes and they play their parts, right? So we are labeling, we are tagging, we are explaining to the algorithms what we are seeing. We need to make sense of the data. So that's where data validation comes in place. And we are basically translating to computing terms, let's say. And then after data validation, we have, after data annotation, we have data validation, which is another level of ensuring that the output is accurate, is ethical. Based on the data annotation, we will need to validate if the results are actually compliance, they're ethical, they're not biased. So that's where it's important that we have a human person reviewing and checking the different details. So if someone, if, for example, an output is negative or not the intended that we need or that we want, these feedbacks needs to be fed back to the system so it's fixed, okay? And if everything goes well with the data annotation and validation, we move forward to development. So that's where the engineers comes along, right? The data is organized, the data is cleaned. We need to think about, we have so much data being created nowadays that we sometimes create kind of noises. So the data validation and annotation is the preparation part so the development can start, okay? Once that is done, developed, we also have another step that is the evaluation. So we did all of that. We did the model of the deployment, and we are going to now do the evaluation based on the final results. So in this part, if anything else is flagged, either ethic concerns or privacy concerns or even biased, this is where we would share that feedback back to developers, and they would need to go back to the loop. So this is a constant loop. If anything goes wrong, we go back to the previous steps, we redo it, and the results needs to be reevaluated. So this is, as you can see, this is how human can make an impact on how data are organized, how they are labeled, how they are basically processed. AI cannot function right without humans, so that's why we are so important to make it right. And here are some examples of data collection. So, like I mentioned, it really depends on the type of project. But for example, if we need to collect, if we have data collection projects, we may request different types of images. For example, we've seen project where it would require pictures of landmarks. So someone would need to provide X amount of pictures from landmarks, and they would be paid for providing those pictures. We do have some type of data collection process. And we have audio speeches recording as well, where a prompt is given and the person needs to record themselves saying those words, and that will be used on the system building. And then we also have prompting engineer. That is another type of data collection based on texts. And the most of the roles that we hire for are for data annotation, and as you can see, we have different type of data annotations. Right? We have text, audio, image, and video. It really depends on the project, the client, what is our intent, our goal. And for data annotation, there's different types of projects that we hire for. So for data annotation, we help the machine understand the world. So for example, we are identifying people, places, dates in text. So we need to tell them, for example, here you can see this is what we call a labeling, like a video labeling. We have this blue box where it's selecting all cars and it's telling this is a car. So this is one type depending on the video or on the audio. This is one type of data annotation. We need to describe the objects on an image, or we need to label scenes, for example. This is one of the different types of data annotation that we have. The machine doesn't know, right, what Ada Lovelace is a person. So we need to tell, if there's an audio that says this person lives in this person, we need to tell them Ada is a person, she lives in this area, and we need a human to be annotating and providing that information, considering that the computer doesn't know that, they cannot do those separations. And let me forward. So we have the data validation. One second. So what the data validation looks like. So this is the quality control. Humans review, like we mentioned in the beginning, humans will review the AI output. It will check for accuracy. It will flag biases and ensures that there's an ethical standards being met. Some projects require multiple reviews to achieve a consensus. Depending on the type of project, maybe they require 2 reviewers or even more reviewers. It really depends on how complex or how sensitive the data is. It's mostly based on the requirements. These roles, like to be a data validator or data annotator, you don't really need any technical background. Basically, we are looking for people with strong language proficiency skills, ability to follow instructions, attention to details, and of course, someone that is reliable. Especially for data validation, that's where things needs to be looking at with more attention, considering that this is the results of the output. So that's where we need to flag when things are not making sense. And I also want to explain what we don't do here on the TrainAI. So this team is not, we are not building AI models. We are not maintaining AI system. We're not providing machine translation or localization systems. These are different teams within RWS. What the TrainAI is focused on is basically the name say it all, train AI, right? So we are teaching it, correcting it, improving the ability to interact with humans. And I also would like to show you why it's so important, the type of job and the work that we're doing. So this is two different situations that different outputs from AI, right? So one is a bias that is showing you what they think housekeepers are, right? We as a human, we know that housekeepers don't have any face, any colors, any gender, any it can be anyone, anywhere, right? But the AI thinks that housekeepers looks like this. So this is one of a bias example that we can fix with data validation. And then one of the things that we can also experience with AI is hallucination. So it will tell you something as a truth when it's actually not. Okay, so for example, the majestic spin wings of the Sahara, we know that this is not possible, but for the AI, that was true. So that's where the validation comes along and we fix those issues basically. Okay, everything I've described so far is connected to why humans' participation is so essential. And we are responsible for AI, right? At the same time, the clients that we work for, they are looking for to have high quality data, ethical and responsible AIs. They are looking for to reduce bias, minimize hallucination, make the output as accurate and helpful as needed. So that's why we are so focused on finding the best people with the right skills and with the right profile, even though we don't require extensive background, extensive experience. If you do have the profile in terms of soft skills, this is all that we need. And of course, all of this depends on like human judgment, right? So that's why those roles exist, and it's why it continues to grow. We expect that these types of role will be the new thing soon. We've seen a very increase of projects where we would need data annotators or data validations, and this is constantly growing. Also, I would like to give you a bit of understanding of some of the roles we hired recently. So the first one is image processing specialist. So for this role, we were looking for people with, photo likes with images with photo. So if they had the skills, can you hear me well? I got an internet connection
It was just
unstable.
a bit of cutting off. So for image processing specialist, could you please repeat? Image processing specialist.
Okay, let me repeat from that. So for the image processing specialists, we were looking for people that they were they would they like to work with Photoshop. They like to work with Canva. Again, they didn't need to have proved experience on those tools, but if they had some sort of understanding, if they were interested in this type of roles, they could apply for the image processing specialist. And the process was that they would need to pass the language test. And of course, within the requirements the clients provide, for example, what type of language we need, they could be hired upon passing those process without any experience, of course. And then for AI dubbing, we also had this, it was a recent project that we were hiring people that could have experience with dealing with audios, even with dubbing in the past. We were evaluating the output of the AI and making sure it was accurate. So anyone that was eager to work with dubbing, with audios, they could apply for this job. And again, it's the same process, right? They need to make sure to pass the language test and be eligible in terms of the language that we are looking for. And also we had AI linguistics, and I would like to explain that this is not linguistic majors specifically. There are people that are they have strong grammar skills. They have clarity. They have writing skills. So even someone that likes to to write journals on their free time would be someone good for AI linguist. So this type of job, they are going to ensure that the output is accurate. They're going to be correcting errors, grammar errors, fixing things to make sure everything's correct and accurate. So you can see how depending on you any of those jobs and be hired if you are able to pass the the language test. These roles illustrate how AI intersects with many fields, right? So we have not just computer science, we have images, audios, linguistics. AI is going to be everywhere, so we expect that more roles will be created and increasing. And why train AI? It's of course there's the obvious reasons, right? You can earn an extra income. Of course, you can work at any time. This is a type of job that is completely flexible. You are able to create your schedules, your days, your time, that the way that you want to work. But on the same time, you are learning new skills. You are learning how the world is evolving, how the world is changing. So you can be a pioneer in the AI job, right? The market is changing so much that participating in this type of job will allow you to understand how the world is changing and evolving, basically. It will give you new skills. It will give you new understanding on how things are working on the background, because things are changing no matter what, if we want it or not. So it's on us to make sure we are keeping up with the changes, right? So it's participating in those jobs will give you an understanding of how things are actually working on the real world. And I would like to give you a quick example of a recent major technology project that we had. So this was a project that we needed to support 50 different languages. So imagine how many people we need to be supporting this type of projects. So you can see that we had over 5,000 AI data specialists, which they were working constantly with the operational team based on the guidelines provided by the clients, right? So it was a huge amount of work. And overall, there was 3,000 chatbots responses processed per week. And if this was done through the traditional translation workflows, it would have taken 6 to 12 months. And using TrainAI workflows, we were able to deliver in half of the time. So this is how much this is how the type of working. It's big projects with thousands of people working together with one common goal, that is making sure AI is accurate, that is reliable, and it's something that we can trust. And I would like to open this moment for Q&As. If you have questions, if there's anything you would like to ask, this is the moment for you, basically.
All right. Thank you so very much, Ana, for this great presentation. And I would like just, if I may, just to have just a couple of words here. So I first would like, I just would like, first of all, to say that it was great to hear about all, first of all, great news that human beings are, as usual, are very, very important, right? So we keep saying that in our program, right? That we are here just to have this control, of course, and it's for sure is supported here in the industry as well. That's great. I also really appreciate that we have today the audience who have the specialties and who go in all different directions, including localization, translation, and interpreting. So, for example, we have our colleague Sophie Schuler, who is specialist in interpreting, so we can see most different opportunities, right, to see how it goes. Also, it's important to see the contemporary issues that were considered, like hallucination of of AI and everything that we need to tackle. Yeah, so we need to remember about that. Also, we welcome here Krasimira Kaup. So I promised this great bonus of 2 speakers today, right? And I really hope to
Hi,
hear
everyone.
today too. Before that, we for sure not to forget anything. Let's leave the floor to question and answers. Thank you so much. So
Thank you so much. And thank you, Anna, for covering the whole presentation. I'm so sorry that I was so late. But yeah, questions, if you have any, and then this particular sign up code that you are seeing on your screen, Plamena kindly created just for you guys. So it will help us track and make sure that this is your application if you do end up applying, and we'll treat you with some special attention.
Great. Thank you so much. It's great. So let's
Yeah, good.
now, and yes, one more thing. I really appreciate everyone's patience with it, like technologies and, all this thing. But it's once again, I think, a great illustration of how we are needed, right? So
Right.
all the time. So our
Sure.
communication is live. Thank you so very much, everyone. Flavia, please go ahead with your comment or question.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I just want to say thank you for the presentation. Thank you for taking the time to share all this great information with us. I'm excited to see you guys when Dr. Yazova said that you guys were going to be presenting, because I visited your booth at the ATA conference
Oh,
recently in
nice.
Boston.
That was nice.
So that was pretty awesome. And so my name is Flavia Brown, and I focus on Spanish English, work with education and healthcare with a specialization in IEP interpreting. I would like to be able to work with, training AI and doing data annotation. Everything sounds very interesting, all these projects. But from your experience, what are 1 or 2 things that you think that would help specifically my Spanish English, language pair stand out from other applicants, because they have we know that it's a very common language pairing.
It
So I guess
definitely
it really depends. Yeah,
is.
go ahead, Chris. Sorry. I don't know if there's a delay, but I can go ahead. So it really depends on the requirements from a client. So when we get a project, let's suppose the client is developing their search function, and they would like to develop their search function in these locations. So this location speaks those specific language. So when we receive the request, we receive the request for that specific language related to the country. So it really depends on the client needs. We are working with our client needs. We've seen in terms of English, like when we're talking about Spanish English, we are mostly talking about sometimes like translation works and like from one language to another, and it really depends on the requirements that we're getting from the client. To answer your question in terms of standing out, I think it's kind of complicated to say, because it really needs to have a bigger reason. When we have, for example, when a specific language have many speakers of the language, it creates a necessity to improve that output for the language. So it really depends on volumes. So if we have many see an increase for that specific language. So it really is it really is a matter of volumes and market when it comes to developing outputs.
Okay. Any specific skills that are usually like looked into when it comes to the Spanish English language pair?
So not necessarily, but the way the roles are divided in TrainAI, they're in tiers, tier one, tier two, and tier three. So tier one is the generalist. It's like general data annotation, and the only requirements are, well, do you speak the language? Are you located where you need to be located? Are you 18 years old or older? And then it gets to the tier two will be a little more, somebody with certain experience, certain degree, and I wouldn't say like particular skills if you have the experience of whatever exactly the role is. And then tier three, I mean, sometimes we actually look for PhD, doctorate degrees. It depends really on what the client needs, but they're in verticals, like what is your specialty? We can have data annotation specifically in health. You mentioned health, for example. And so obviously the higher the tier, it will be paid higher as well. I can't really think of a particular skill. If you are an expert in your language, in your domain, that's all we need. And if you have the degree or the experience,
That is usually a plus.
yeah. But
Thank you
for
very
general
much.
annotation,
And
yeah, like I said, it's very
content.
minimum requirements. It's you do speak the language. Are you an adult? And then there would be a short client test, client qualification, and it's usually for general data annotation. It's like a 10-minute test, and it's a very high pass rate. I would say in your guys' case, you probably would qualify for, tier two and tier three rather than the general data annotation.
Great. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for this discussion. I'm just sorry just to have a bit of a pause here before the next question and discussion. I think and my apologies for being a bit maybe post factum, but I guess I need to present Krasimira as she came, and I was waiting for for presentation just to welcome her as a leading expert in talent acquisition and management and the Talent Finance Senior Manager for the inspiring and comprehensive TrainAI service we heard about today, provided by RWS Group. And Krasimira has a wealth of expertise ranging from translation and simultaneous interpretation, localization, legal document management, quality assurance, to recruitment and corporate customer satisfaction strategies. So feel free to ask as many questions as you can and just
Thank you so
know
much.
more.
Very kind of you.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure. So please, let's hear from our esteemed audience other questions or comments. You're very welcome. You can click on raise hand symbol or actually post on the chat if needed. So far, I cannot see the chat notes, so you can just go ahead with your questions.
Yeah, and we can definitely send you guys this QR code as an image too after the presentation. I know you're recording it. I assume everybody has access to it, to the recording, but we can send this image as well as a just in an email if it's easier for
Wonderful. Thank you so much for this. I
anyone
think
who
you
wants
could
to
go
reply.
ahead and do it at my email address maybe, and then I
Okay,
can
yeah,
definitely
sounds
distribute
good.
it if you don't mind.
Mhm.
I think it will
Of
be the
course,
easiest option. Thank you.
no
So
problem.
any more questions about what has been said today? Please don't hesitate.
I can also give you an overview on another role that we have been hiring for the last 2 years, just as extra information on another type of role. So it is a search quality rater, and we do hire for multiple languages. And just to kind of give you an idea of another type of work that TrainAI provides, it is the rater that basically improves the search results. So imagine you go into Google and you type your whatever you're looking for, right? You type your search word or sentence, and you get all your search results. So our quality raters ensure that all users actually are receiving, the system is generating the proper search results so that everything you actually are getting is relevant to what you looked for. And it is also an ongoing project. We've been hiring for that project for over 2 years now. It doesn't have an end date. We do hire in English, US, Spanish, Spain, multiple languages. And yeah, it's a really great project. It's something that I find very important and very interesting for people to learn. I know our raters have had really great experience.
Great, it's fascinating. Thank you for sharing this. Flavia, please go ahead with your comment and question.
Yes. My question is, I know that you guys are constantly looking for, people to be part of the projects. And I know that Anna briefly mentioned freelancing. Do you guys have freelance positions and full-time or part-time
Me
positions?
too.
And once we are part of the, I guess like the pool, do you become part of like a roster that
Correct.
you
Yes.
could be reached out to for different projects or multiple projects if you are not a
Yes,
full-time
absolutely. That's a
employee?
great question. So we do have both. We have what is called a vendor and an employee. Those are the two types of positions. So if you're an employee, you can be a full-time employee, you can be a part-time employee. If you're a vendor, then you are part of our vendor database. You qualify one time to become our vendor. The qualification will include the language proficiency tests. We'll always have the English language proficiency test. And then if you do speak another language or two or three, we will test you on every language that you speak. Once you pass the language proficiency tests, you complete your registration and then you are part of our vendor database. As a freelancer or a vendor, you will be contacted every time there's a new project that matches your profile. And those are actually pretty frequent. They're usually short-term projects. Sometimes they're longer term projects. It can be a week, it can be 3 months. And then we will reach out to you with the requirements. We'll tell you who the client is, what volumes are expected, what the pay rate is, what the schedule is, if there is a schedule. Most of the times it's very flexible. You can work on your own time. And that particular qualification where you pass the language exams, it's a one-time thing. Once you become a vendor, you are. If the client has a specific exam to pass to become part of the project, like I said, those are usually very short qualification tests, like a 10-minute thing that you have to pass. And then you start working right away. In some cases, I almost feel like in most cases, there's no additional client qualification exam. There could be something to sign specific to that client. Good news is we work with a few big names that you guys all know. Once you do sign their own, NDA agreements or whatever their particular requirements are, it's also a one-time thing. And then as an employee, I mean, we have part-time employee, which is actually the search quality rater role. That is a part-time employee role. Usually when you're a part-time employee, you can only work on one project. And if it's ongoing in most cases, because we wouldn't put all the efforts into, hiring somebody as an employee if it's just a 2-week, short term. And another big point to make here is you can't be both. Not in one calendar year, not in the same calendar year. If you're a freelancer this year, You will be receiving all the projects as a freelancer, but if you want to apply for an employee for a part-time or a full-time position, it would have to be the next calendar year if you've done any freelance work this year.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of
Thank you.
course.
Yeah, thank you so much for this great question and wonderful discussion. So just to make sure that everything is clear in the process and all the
course.
opportunities
Yeah.
that we could have, right? Thank you so much. All right,
Absolutely.
Melody, please go ahead.
Thank you too very much for the great presentation and also the other responses. So I just have a follow-up questions with Flavia's initial question. So after the exam, like language exam, so I assume there should be some kind of training process for the new linguists. So
It
to get
depends.
used to the
Sometimes there
working
is.
process. So how does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends. It's also kind of client and project based. For most of the general data annotator roles, there isn't. There is a
Mhm.
I mean, there is, but it's like a 30-minute video or something because it's such a basic type of work that you don't really need a ton of training. For search quality rater, for example, there is training that is multiple hours, then there's additional training once you are on the project. It really depends on the client and the project. For the freelance jobs, honestly, I can't think of anything that's required training for tier one, usually just a quick qualification test, and the test itself is showing you the type of work. And I'll give you a simple example. The latest one we had was audio annotation. And so the test was exactly what the work was. And it showed you an image, like a very busy image, and it said, please record a 90-second audio describing what you see in the image. And so you just describe in your own words. The instructions will say be as detailed as possible. Make sure you're not missing any, major parts in the photo. If you're seeing any signs, there were posters in the image, for example, like advertisements. Make sure you read the text and the video and the audio. So it was very easy. I think and then the client would rate it, and it's like a pass or a fail. And so I think what they evaluated was, do you have attention to detail? Can you
Yeah.
freely describe, a picture? Do you speak the language well? Are you fluent in that language? And that's it.
Yeah. And I
Thank you
think
for
there
the
is
explanation.
Of course.
there is some also projects that will provide you some guidelines, and that those are self-trained, right? So you have what is the expectation of the project will require. So the guidelines will help you. What is the rules? What is the information that you need to have upfront before working? So, like Krasa mentioned, it really depends on the project, because there's project that is as simple as just reading a sentence and understanding what you have to do. For example, labeling jobs, where you ask to label cars, for example. You don't need extensive training to understand that you need to be labeling cars. But depending if the content is more complex or if it requires more details, there's going to be guidelines as well provided. Sometimes we have trainings that is going to be held by teams or in a system, or sometimes you're just sent a PDF where you can read through the details and go through on your own pace. But it really depends on content, client, and requirements.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Much. Thank you for this great discussion. Flavia, please go ahead.
Sorry, I keep on asking, but I'm really interested. Because I do see that, like you keep on talking about a lot of like projects that are flexible, task-based, and let me lower my hand. It's weird. And so my next thought would be like, how do you see people progressing from being part of that like training AI talent pool to something like more stable or like senior roles with, RWS, like, you become a lead annotator or project manager or roles with, AI data training systems because it's something that I do look forward for, right?
Yeah, correct. And we do have those roles as well. There's definitely project leads. What was the search quality rater?
Auditors.
Auditor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
it's an
have
auditor.
auditors.
So everybody starts as the data annotator or the search quality rater, and then we have a dedicated quality team that actually assesses everybody's quality of work. There are on the ongoing projects, the longer term projects, there are frequent quality tests where there are paid. All the annotators, all the workers will take an additional exam as an experienced annotator at that point, right? And our team, our quality team will assess, and then we'll handpick, the best of the best, basically the highest quality. So we have helped the team also pick, data auditors, project leads. So you just obviously need to start. I mean, I started in this business, I want to say 16 years ago as it wasn't a data annotator, but it was something similar. It was related to quality assurance. And so, I think we're a good example of how it is possible to grow within this business. And we also started at the bottom. And I don't want to say bottom doesn't sound good, but it's just, we always start with an entry level position, and then you grow.
Yeah, thank you so much. Apparently not a bottom, but just a right start and
Right.
great development and path that could be open for
Definitely.
everyone.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing this important example of how it can happen, right? So you can just get more
For
experience
sure. Mm-hmm.
and
And
try
sometimes
yourself in
it's a
different
matter of
roles.
just asking. On search quality rating project, I think the way it worked was for every 100 raters. That's not a good example because in most cases there's more than that. But for every 100 raters, we had one auditor that was in charge of, assessing their work. And I remember a case where somebody that I had hired for a search quality rater just reached out and said, "Hey, I'm really enjoying this work, but I'm ready to grow. Are there any opportunities?" And I just reached out to the quality team manager and said, this rater that I hired 6 months ago just reached out. She's asking, and they ended up assessing her work and said, well, she has great quality. Let's interview her for an auditor. And then she got the job. So it's a matter of like really asking. I mean, wanting to grow. That's part of it as well. Not just waiting to be assigned, right?
Thank you so much, Krasimira, because it's sometimes it makes a difference just to ask and to pose the right questions at the right time. So it's
Yeah, yeah.
talk about that. Thank you. All right, I think we also have some time maybe for one more or two more questions from our esteemed audience, or maybe comments on what has been said about what we have here in our AI world. Okay, for the language content. Okay. All right. It seems like everything is just the majority of questions were posed, and I really would like to appreciate and give a big hand of applause to our great presenters today, and for your
Thank you so
time,
much.
for your
Thank you for
presentation,
having us.
and also thank you. It was a great pleasure, and so for answering the questions, for your time with it, for going deeper in the details, and of course, a big, huge thank you for all our esteemed audience who has joined us today this morning. And
Thank you all so
so
much.
attentive and posing your questions and so on. And this, I hope, will open the new roads to like more meetings, collaboration.
For
And
sure.
yeah, and
we would love
exchange.
to do
Yeah.
this more.
Thank you so much, everyone. And I wish everyone a wonderful day.
Thank
It was a
you.
pleasure to be
Yeah,
here
thanks.
today.
Have a
Thank you
nice
so
one.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.